YouTube, which is amazing. And thank you so much indeed for that. What we need you to do now, however, is hit notifications and make sure that every time we do one of these, that means that you can find out exactly when we're going live. Considering that what we do is our usual show on a Wednesday and a Sunday. They are our community group hugs while conventions are being cancelled left, right, and centre. They are our way of celebrating our fandoms and this great community of fans that have built up going to these shows each and every Wednesday and Thursday, each and every Wednesday and Sunday, however. But because every once in a while we get ourselves a special episode, we are able to do our incidental episode drop-ins, these special one-offs that kind of just sit outside of our normal broadcast time. Plenty of stuff that's going to be happening shortly. If I can just bring the graphic up of what's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. We have ourselves Donny Cates and Megan Hutchinson tomorrow. Looking forward to talking to those two. David Irwin from Heavy Metal is going to be coming on to talk about Virus and all of those bits and pieces which are happening with that particular publication. Russ Burlingame from comicbook.com and Mike Avelia from Sci-Fi Wire is going to be joining us on Wednesday 27th, so next week. And then the last Sunday of the month, Robin Jones and Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson is the organizer of Mac Power here in the UK. Great cartoonist himself. Robin Jones, award-winning cartoonist as well. Into the Blue Mister is joining us, and already he's got his comment in. Afternoon, everyone. It's Sunday, right? No, wait, it's Wednesday. No. It's all over the shop.
Who knows what it is?
I know. I'll tell you something. I'm going to bring this up as well when I talk to Mike. I know that if it wasn't for these podcasts, I would have lost all sense of time, or so like the way that the weeks and months are barreling on into each other. I'd have lost all of that ages ago. I mean, it's already a mess. But if it wasn't for these shows, I'd have just I'd have jumped off a bridge. It's just insane. But there we go. It's great that everyone's joining us. The Facebook video is now public, which means you can share that off with any other groups that you are a member of. Maybe there's somebody that will be interested in hearing from Michael. You can also watch the Twitch feed. You can watch us on Periscope and YouTube. All of the comments that come in on that come into the feed. Do let us know if there's any questions you have for Michael, or indeed anything you want to talk about today. Solistra Smeg, you, sir, I need you to direct message me, please. You're the winner of the Rachel Smith prints, and I need your details. Can you direct message me so we can get you your prints to you, and get an address from you, all of that. You were the winner on Sunday. We need your details. Solistra Smeg, you can get those to us. Leandy is watching. Toby is watching. It's a pleasure to have you along. Thank you very much indeed for coming. So, yes, this is our incidental episode on a Tuesday. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. This is Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. I have my cup of tea. I'm ready to go. Like I say, an incidental episode is where we drop in outside of our usual Wednesday and Sunday broadcasts and bring you some special episodes. We've got two this evening, as it happens. Later on this evening, we're going to be talking to the president of GalaxyCon. So we're going to be talking about how they're bringing the virtual con to attendees in the light of this terrible situation we're in, this pandemic, which is worldwide and affecting everyone of every stratosphere, including convention fans and pop culture fans alike. It's going to be an interesting show. Do join us. That's going to be in about 3 hours' time. So do join us for that. However, like I say, we've got ourselves a very special guest on today's show, considering that this man, I have been trying to get on this show for literally years. Yeah. Literally years. This is Michael Telesto. Hello, Michael. How are you, sir?
Hey, guys.
Is it Michael or Mike? How good it was? What are you most comfortable with?
Mike.
Mike, it's a pleasure to have you along. I mean, I've just introduced myself briefly. If you could introduce... Okay. Everybody who goes to San Diego Comic-Con will know who you are. Perhaps there are one or two people that don't. Mike, introduce yourself. Who are you and what do you do?
Sure. I'm Mike Telesto. I'm the president of Promo 360 Group. We are the marketing agency for quite a few of the booths at San Diego, New York Comic Con, C2E2, all the rest of them. You know, we do them all. Emerald City, etc. You mostly know me because I've been with Marvel doing their booths for the last 14 years, I think, 14,
Wow.
15, something like that. Let's put it this way, since before Iron Man 1. I've been with them. And I was with them in the 90s as well at another agency that I didn't own, but I own this company now for the last 18 years. We design and build their booths for Marvel, Boom Studios, Sideshow, Alex Ross Art. Yeah, we've done quite a few 2K games in the past for many years. And so done quite a few.
I mean, see, that I didn't know. I mean, I knew that you did a number of the booths, but I didn't know some of the other, like the showcase booths. I didn't know you did. Certainly didn't know you did Alex Ross, for example.
Yeah, we did so we actually took Alex Ross over last year, and we rebranded it for them last year. We started with Star Wars Celebration for them, and then we did San Diego and New York for them, and we're doing them moving forward. And we tried to create a museum style look for Alex Ross. And it's funny because we just know them as our buddies because they're across the aisle from us at most shows. So it's always like, hey, can I borrow a vacuum? Sure, I got one, Chris, no problem. Or, hey, Chris, that Alex Ross piece back there of Wonder Woman versus Cheetah, can I get a good price on that? So, you know, we became friends. Then finally, we decided after all these years to do some business together.
That's so cool. I mean, it's great that, I mean, like I say, people know you from the Marvel booth because I think several people may just think that you are kind of like the ringmaster on stage, spurring up that energy, and you do bring so much energy to that stage. But you are very much also the marshal of the team that's on that booth, and like you say, you're also the person behind the company that actually puts that booth together. It is a booth which has evolved. Certainly since I've started going 2010. I'm a relative.
You started with Thor when we did.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize I'm a relative noob to all of this, especially considering the long history of the convention, but certainly the way that the show has ramped up, and certainly from 2010, it just went off into a whole other stratosphere. And
everything.
Sorry? Oh, absolutely.
Changed everything.
I mean, how has that reflected in the way that you've had to design the booth, considering the amount of attention and the amount of bodies that swarm that booth each and every year? I mean, I can imagine that the logistics of, certainly when you've seen like the signing tables, that seems like such a hard thing to get into that space. Just to design it must take quite some effort.
Well, in the beginning, when we started this back in 2006 with them or whatever it was a one-level booth. And by levels, I mean we have frame systems that we build the booth out of. So it was one level high. We had no stage. We brought a stage in on day 2 because we needed a stage. So we're only 8 feet tall. And we had an 8-inch stage. And we had a ton of banners hanging from the ceiling. And, you know, we brought Robert Downey Jr. in. And we showcased Mark I armor. And, you know, it was... It was something that I didn't design. I was asked to come in and do, and then I changed a lot of it on the fly at the show. We came up with Marvel. We worked very closely with them as an extension of their team, and we came up with the idea of this Tony Stark Industries crate that then split apart, and inside was a reveal, first time ever seen anywhere, of the Mark I armor for Iron Man. And then we had Robert come sign, and we had Jon Favreau sign, and we didn't anticipate anything with crowds. Bringing Robert and John, because remember, Iron Man was like a C-level character. We weren't sure. It was our first foray going out into this. When I say we, I always think of myself, whichever client I'm working with, I think of us as we.
Sure.
So we're talking about Marvel. And it was Marvel's first foray going out, and we weren't sure. We literally gave out, you know, like the raffle tickets. That's what we gave out to people. Oh, you want a ticket to meet Robert Downey and get a poster signed? Go right ahead. So from what that is to now the infamous phrase that I know your wife knows very well, which is, look down, people. If you can see red, you're good. If you see gray, you got to keep walking. Because people don't leave. When they know we have a signing on the stage, they crowd the aisles so much and do not leave 5 or 6 hours. During 2014, we had Age of Ultron cast signing, which was I mean, just insane. We had people pass out in the aisleways. I had Comic-Con calling me while I'm on stage going, you have 2 people passed out on the floor. And it was during the signing. What are you supposed to do? Like, you know, that's our job to corral that. And we did it. And what you have to do is you don't do it on the fly. You do this months in advance.
Sure.
We talk about traffic flow in a 50-foot by 70-foot booth in January for a July show. We sit there and try to figure out which way you're going to enter, how long you're going to stay, and how long you need to leave. It's really thinking. I'm trying not to sneeze. Sorry, I don't have COVID.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, wait. Can I just show you? I wore my Tower of London shirt for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I went to England for the first time this year, so
I know you did, yeah.
Yeah, and I am
before you know the world fell apart.
Well, but I'm in love with the country, and I want to move there. So I think now that Harry's gone, there's room for a new queen. So anyway, but so we start planning this, and we really follow the Disney way of thought of line control of how many people can go through, how do we get the ADA through, you know, how do we get, which are disabled people, how do we get the aisles clear so that we don't have the fire marshals coming and shutting us down. It's a lot. It's almost like algorithms to figure this out.
I mean, how long? I mean, the current design of the booth, when you have the merch tower and also the multimedia, the kind of like the interview tower. If you're facing the booth on the right hand side, and then you've got your the stage directly ahead, you have the signing booth on the left, and all of the ways that like you say, the mechanics of putting that booth together. I mean, when did it kind of click to put this design together for this particular for the amount of people that Comic-Con currently has?
It's a little bit of a story.
Yeah.
So 2011, we did the helicarrier from Avengers 1. So I literally went to Albuquerque.
We'll be coming back to that one, by the way.
I went to Albuquerque and we looked and you know, they were like, we want that at Comic-Con. And it was Nick Fury's podium with that big expansive window. And originally we were going to do LED panels in front of the window, so it looked like you're floating above New York. Every now and then you see like a little Iron Man zip by kind of a deal. But the technology was very expensive back then to curve LED panels and to bring LED panels in at all. So we had it in the back of our head. So we didn't end up doing that. We did a different part of the helicarrier instead. And we just kept tossing the LED thing around. So we ended up doing video monitors in 2013. So NEC video monitors, that like just a bunch of TVs put together that make a wall, but it was really labor intensive and really expensive. But we loved what we could show. We could show a tremendous amount of video clips and comic book clips, and we could do stuff on stage and blow it up on stage so everybody could see it, like a Jumbotron. And we did that for 2 years. We kind of didn't do much in 15. And then in 16, we came back with the LED wall. And LED had come down in price, and it made it cost effective. And it's not necessarily the price for purchasing the wall, which is astronomical. It's the labor, because you're working with unions. So it's the labor to put it up. And I know you have an international audience, but like, you guys don't have unions over in Europe. We have unions here. So if you want to connect wire A to wire B, that's one union. You want to hang the LED panel, that's a different union. You want to turn it on and run something, that's a different union. So it's 3 people just to touch that for each panel. So it gets very expensive, but Marvel really wanted to do it, and we did it, and it worked so well. I mean, at that point, I think you'll remember we had revolving stages involved in this as well. Yeah. Where we surprised the audience and we revolved it, and the entire cast would come out. We change up props. So it really started evolving in 2013, but we started thinking about it in 2011. I mean, that's how far back we think. We're already thinking about what we're doing in the next 3, 4, 5 years. So,
well, I mean, I think also the when you introduced the video walls as well, because it was also very much that time when the amount of content that Marvel were bringing out, not only from their animation department, but also the films, the amount of MCU films that were coming out as well. People wanted to see that content. They wanted to see the videos, and they wanted to see the trailers of the films that were coming up. And people could flock to that Marvel booth and see what was happening up on the screens.
You couldn't help. We are in Hall C. So that's the main doors entry into the center of the convention center. You got A and B on your left. You got D, E, F, and then G, and then Hall H all the way down your right. And the difference is when you walk into those doors and see, it's a straight aisle right back to our video screen. And that's amazing to see that content. There's only like one other booth who really does something similar to that, would be Lucasfilm with Star Wars, where they have their video screens floating.
Yeah.
And we were always so jealous of that, and I wanted that, and we got it. And we love Lucasfilm as well. They're part of the family. And I've done Star Wars Celebration for them, so I definitely love them. But what's wonderful is the booth becomes a beacon at the entire show. So you have 200,000 people, 135,000 on average in the show at any one time, but about 200,000 people if you include the initial vicinity of the convention center. That goes out to 300,000 beyond that. But they'll all say, meet at the Marvel booth, or it's to the left of the Marvel booth, or it's to the right of the Marvel booth, because we are so well known, and we've been in that spot now for, this would have been our 14th year, our 14th year of cons, being in that spot. And it's been phenomenal to try to make that work. It's a very much a hand in hand with the Marvel team. We take the lead from them. We take what they need from a marketing perspective. We go back to them and explain what their needs are from marketing. And let's say with any of their new releases or their comic releases or their merchandise or whatever, we turn around and make that happen. It's literally they direct us, and then we say, okay, let's put our design hat on. The same way you direct an artist, we're gonna design it. And then Sean McHugh, who works with me for 7 years, Sean and I will sit down and design this whole thing. And then we have to figure out how to make it work, because it looks good on paper. Well, can you So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to talk about that kind of, not the full-blown relationship details, but certainly how you got in with Marvel, to how they approached you, or did you approach them? But let's go a little bit further back, because I mean, you've been organizing conventions of your own. You've been organizing all sorts of bits and pieces. If people give a little bit of the background to your certainly also your own fandoms as well, and what you're own into. I mean, what are the kind of things that catch your attention? Is it films, television, comics, or is it across the board?
Across the board. But I learned to read by reading comics. So I have an older cousin, Rob, who is a comic aficionado. But like, I'm talking in the 70s when so he's 10 years older than me. So when he was like 15, he had thousands of comic books. And he knew I was like 3 years old probably, because I learned to read at 3. I loved the Wonder Woman series, right? So at first run, because I'm old. So I love the Linda Carter Wonder Woman series. And he gave me Teen Titans books to read, as well as Wonder Woman books to read, because he thought that I would love the Teen Titans books. And I didn't get a lot of it, and my grandmother was a school teacher and she taught me to read them, but that solidified it. Between that and tying a hefty trash bag around my neck and running around cutting triangles out of the back of it and thinking I was Batman at 5 years old, off the second story of our house in the backyard. I mean, who didn't see a piece of rope and think it was a magic lasso, or take any stick and throw it and think it was a batarang? That's what I did. I mean, you had Shazam, you had Isis, you had Electra Woman and Dinah Girl, you had Superman, you had, although I wasn't a huge Superman fan until Henry Cavill, but you have
you and the missus, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, maybe, I don't know. I can't say what he likes. But so I think that, starting this at 4, like 3 and 4 years old, like 75, 76, really solidified it. And I'm 47 now. So this has been this arc that has been permanent throughout my entire life, has always been superheroes. So when I got the chance to work with them, why wouldn't I? I mean, it's a blessing. I went on this really, really, really bad date, a blind date, really bad date. I feigned having diarrhea to get out of the date in the middle of the date. That's how bad the date was, right? But the guy remembered what I did, and he worked at a video company at 2K Games, a video game company. And he called me like 3 months later. He's like, look, I knew the date sucked, but I remember what you did, and we have to do a convention, Gen Con. Would you like to do Gen Con for us? I was like, sure. So I started doing the Gen Con booths for them, because I'd done conventions for years. And then one of the games we ended up promoting at New York Comic Con year one was Rise of the Silver Surfer Fantastic Four that they did for the Fox movie. And while we're setting up, we had this really wild booth. It was awesome booth, the movie theater in it. And while we were setting up, this guy walks over and starts talking to me during setup. He goes, "We've got this really great booth this year. It looks really good. What did we do? Who put this together?" And I'm like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Marvel." I go, "See that booth over there? That's yours. This is 2K Games." And he's like, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "Well, I designed this and built this and I'm running it." He goes, "Well, how do we get you to do that for us?" And so I gave him my card. And he just kept talking to me the whole time. And some of you guys would know him. His name is John Dokes. He doesn't work at Marvel anymore. Yeah. But John Dokes was the guy on stage before I took it over. Very tall, great-looking black man, very charismatic, knew how to work a crowd. And I learned a lot from watching him, and I use a lot of his jokes still, dad jokes as I call them. And he called me. He had his employee call me, Mike Pasciullo called me while I was on a plane, about to have the door shut to go on vacation. And they said, "Would you like to do Comic-Con San Diego for us in a month?" And I was like, "Sure, but I'm going on vacation. I'll call you when I come back." They said, "If you want the job, you got to come in now." And I got off the plane, went into New York, had the meeting, got the job, and then went on vacation that night. And,
nice.
And I've been with them since. And it's the biggest privilege of my career, 27 years working. It's the biggest privilege of my career to work with Marvel, because most companies don't keep you longer than a year or 2 years or 3 years as an agent. Especially, I'm a small company. I mean, when I got them, I was 10 people. We're 5 people now, full time. We have a lot of part-time people that I hire over and over again, but we're 5 people. And for them to have that much faith in this little company from New Jersey, and now it's a little company in Florida, I mean, I bow to them. They're fantastic. I got to hang out with Stan Lee for 2 decades. You know, I mean, how much cooler is that?
That is, I mean, number one, incredibly cool.
Yeah.
Number two, I'm liking the stories you're telling about how you got it. I mean, we've got Sir Lister's make. Number one, he's going to use the excuse for his next bad date. It was bad.
It was bad. It was the day after Bush lost. Bush won the election, the second election, and he just wanted to rail on him. And I was like, talk about anything other than politics.
Well, I mean, I can imagine that's nothing new or nothing changed from the current situation, but that's for certain. But it's also interesting to hear there is a small, tight-knit group that you've got, certainly full-time. When it comes to the actual show, I mean, you've got a fair number of bodies that you need to have on that booth to just make it work. What's the kind of like team numbers? I mean, how many bodies do you usually have running on the booth?
20, depending on the show and what we're doing that year. Most of them are actually, every person who works for me full-time or part-time is somebody I met at a show. I just realized that. Wow, it's somebody I met at a show. But if you come up to me at a show, 99% of the time, I'm not going to be interested in hiring you. I'm very particular, because what I'll do is watch how you interact with other people while you're waiting to talk to me. And if I see you're looking impatient, you can't work for me. You can't be impatient. Because, I mean, I had your wife at the booth once, and she was upset over something. It was overwhelming amount of people and stuff. And I was in the middle talking to somebody else, but I saw her in the back, and she was patiently waiting. And I just excused myself and went over and gave her a hug, because she was patiently waiting, because she was literally respectful of the other person's time who I was talking with and my time. And I was like, I knew the conversation wasn't that important that I was having. Let me go over and console her and find out if there's anything I can do to help her, because I don't know what she's upset about. Did somebody at the booth say something? Did a fan say something? Let me go over and talk to her. I look for people who want to be around people. I don't care if you can tell me that in Wolverine number 30 on page 22 in the bottom right corner that he wore blue. I don't care about that. I care, do you know how to work with people? Can you be taught how to work with people? Do you understand that the minute the lights go on, you are representing the Marvel and Disney brand? And when you are walking to your hotel, you are representing the Marvel and Disney brand. And when you're eating, you are representing the Marvel and Disney brand. Because the minute you get on that plane to fly out to San Diego or to New York, you are a representative of that brand. I have been at a show, I live in South Florida. I went to a show, I never go to shows if I'm not working. It's just like,
it's a busman's holiday, isn't it? It's just, yeah.
You know? So, but I went to a show down here. I went to SuperCon, And I brought my dog with me, and I had my dog in my backpack, and I just was like, I got nothing else to do. Let me go walk around and see if I can support some artists. So I'm online to buy my ticket, which is just unusual that I have to buy a ticket, but I had to buy a ticket. And I'm online, and I hear, Marvel's here. I can't believe Marvel's here. Marvel's here. And I turn around, I'm like, hell, we hired somebody else to do their booth. And I turned around, and I'm like, what do you mean Marvel's here? They're like, you're Marvel. I'm not wearing a Marvel shirt. I'm nowhere near San Diego or New York. And the people recognize me, which was nice. And, you know, I'm like, well, no, they're not here. I'm here, but I have swag in my backpack if you want. So I always bring swag with me. I always have like pins or something to give to people. So you never know when you're gonna find a kid who's upset, and a pin can change his life and make him smile. So
well, I mean, that's absolutely something that I knew you. I think, like I say, it was the year that you brought the helicarrier, and it was on preview night. And I don't know if this was actually it was a line or if it was just something to keep her happy. But yes, Caroline was the first non-industry person to have a photograph taken on the helicarrier, according to yourself.
It's accurate.
I thought that was incredibly generous of you. But I think also, I mean, when I then got to know you and speak to you and see what you did on stage, it was that attention to the crowd and to individuals. It's very difficult to try and catch your attention on a Sunday, for example, because there's the connection that you have with people. You're trying to talk.
The people catch my attention. I have to decide where to give the attention.
Yeah.
That's the problem, because we're there as representatives of the brand. I'm very honored that, oh, Leanne, I'm so glad I did. Thank you. That makes me feel very happy. I'm so glad that we can represent the brand and represent the characters and the world that Marvel's created. And I have to balance, and my team has to balance, and even the Marvel employees who are there have to balance of, can we socialize for a minute and say hi to a friend that we've met through these things? Or can we answer the questions of somebody who has a legitimate question about the booth? So I do hugs, fist bumps, elbow bumps, whatever, talk if I can, and then I move on to helping out, especially the ADA. They can ask a question that might seem obvious to somebody else, but you have to break it down, lowest common denominator, to get somehow for them to be able to figure out either what the answer is or how to get from point A to point B if they're on a scooter. So it takes longer time. So yeah, Sundays are rough, especially end of show after giveaway hour. That's rough. But I see everybody, and I try to at least give a wink or a nudge, or I'm going to do the Carol Burnett tug on the ear in the future. To let them know I see them, and I'm just there's a fan that I met at MegaCon, Davian, and he's a really great cosplayer, older guy, maybe in his early 60s, from New York. And I just met him, we clicked, socialized a couple of times, and he will walk by the booth at the back end of the booth, all the way at the aisle, and he'll pause. And it's almost like that scene in The Dark Knight Rises, where they see Alfred at the restaurant at the end.
Yeah.
And just a tip of the hat. That's what he does. He'll tip his hat, or he'll smile. He'll make sure I caught his eye, and then he'll keep going.
Just keep going.
World. Stuff like that is great, because that gives you energy through the day. So, but the fans are there's no way around it. The Marvel fans are the best fans. They are literally the nicest people at the show. They're so sweet. They bring us drinks and candy and cards, and they're sweet as all hell. Every single one of them. Guys, I don't know whoever's listening, if you've never been to a show, go to a show, because you're going to meet the nicest people at these shows. Everybody is super nice.
Well, I mean, it is such a positive vibe that you bring off when it comes to Marvel, and that's the reason why people flock to the booth. Not only the special guests as well. I mean, if there's any favorite memories of any of the special guest interactions, I mean, certainly when it comes to, like you say, Robert Downey Jr., when he rocks up, I mean, he's a consummate rock star.
Were you there in 2012 when we surprised everybody with Robert?
Yeah.
So for the people listening, we have the Hall of Armor. So in Tony Stark's basement, he has all the suits in this curved Hall of Armor, and we had all these 7 suits up, and then we brought out the Mark 42 overnight, Friday into Saturday. We had to take the whole stage down, bring it up because we had a revolving base, and it's the Mark 42, so it starts revolving. So everyone's like, "Ooh, this is exciting." So Jesse Falcon, who works for Disney and Marvel and hosts some stuff, gets on stage, and he's doing this event where we've now got 40-something kids all dressed as Iron Man, full masks, dressed as Iron Man, and they're all up on stage, and Jesse's asking questions. Who's your favorite? You know, what's your favorite Iron Man costume? Point to it, whatever. And we get them to start chanting, "I am Iron Man. I am Iron Man." And all of a sudden, a voice comes over the speaker, and he goes, "No, I am Iron Man." And out comes Robert Downey Jr. from behind stage, sunglasses, leather jacket, looking friggin' bomb, and comes out, and these kids lost it. They lost it. Their hero, Tony Stark, was there, and it was amazing. But can I tell you the worst part of that? Getting those kids back to their parents. They all had the same damn mask on. I'm like lifting the kid's mask, going, "Who gives this? You want this one? Go ahead, right? You already put it down here." One kid's like, "But that's not my mom." "Okay, great. You come back over here. We'll get you to your right mom." One woman's like, "I don't want it back." I'm like, "No, it's all good." And one kid had sparkle. There's a video of it on YouTube. There's a kid with all sparkles. I still find sparkles every year. There's gold and red sparkles everywhere. So great. Tony Roberts, he's the most consummate professional you could possibly meet. Super ridiculously sweet. Fun to be around. Loves the fans. We had him there in 2007, and he was signing. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to keep signing, and he signed for another hour because he wanted everybody to get a signature with him. So it's great. I mean, you got Chris Hemsworth, so giving to the audience, so giving, so much. Like, he'll take a picture with everybody. He doesn't care. You know, Chris Evans, same thing. Chris Evans, I think he's the #1 we've had on the stage the most. It's been Chris Evans.
Right.
He's not people. You don't notice it. He's just smiling and laughing the entire time, having a blast. Here's the thing. They're acting against a green screen. They're acting in a bubble.
Yeah.
To go and be with the people who are paying the tickets and loving and living and making the costumes, and that's their dream. I mean, who wouldn't want that as a dream? You know, when we had Peggy Carter on stage, right? You know, so Peggy Carter's series was mind-blowingly good. I don't know why it was canceled. If anybody agrees with me that shouldn't be canceled, put it in the comments. It should not have been canceled. But so Haley's on stage, and all of a sudden 40 Haley Atwell lookalikes, all dressed up as Peggy Carter, come up on stage, and she's crying, and they're crying, and I'm crying, sending them off stage, and they're all crying, and it was just, that's what a convention is about. And that's what we're missing right now in this pandemic.
Yeah.
We are missing it.
Well, I mean, we're going to get into that in a second, because obviously this year's just been absolutely devastating. But I am going to say two words.
I'm sorry, can you send me the link? I'd love to send this link to people on my Facebook.
Absolutely. Let me. I'll get that video to you. No worries. I mean, what I was going to mention, and I'm going to say two words, and I'm certain there's going to be stories. So I'm really wanting to hear what you say when I say the words. Hang on a second. Let me. I'm trying to get this link. Bear with me. Yeah. Okay. Right. I think I've got the link. If I say two words to you, I want to hear a story, because I guarantee there's a whole a lot of the stories for this guy, Michael Rooker.
I knew it.
Who
Clark Gregg or
man?
It's going to be one or the other. So Rooker. Do you guys know who Michael Rooker is? Yondu. I mean, he's from Guardians of the Galaxy. That's not him. That's not a character. That's Michael Rooker up on that screen. He's playing himself. So Michael Rooker is really great friends with my cousin Darren Passarello, who is in the convention scene and works at our booth quite a bit. So that's how I got to know Michael very well, and through his handler Juliet Tertiev. And I created this thing called Fantasy, which is the Comic-Con cruise, the only successful Comic-Con cruise that ever happened. And we did it in 2018 out of Tampa, 5 days, the entire ship. No bingo, no reggae bands, Comic-Con the whole way, 2,200 people. It was great. And I said to Rooker, I need you on the ship. No, I don't do water. No, Michael, I need you on this. I don't do boats. Okay, but Michael, I'm asking you as my friend. I need you on the ship because we have the Guardians of the Galaxy and we have Walking Dead with him, and we had other people from those shows and movies, and we want to do panels. All right, I'm gonna get on, but I'm gonna get off. And I was like, well, maritime law doesn't allow that, so we'll talk about that once you're on the boat. He was really scared of water, but he was the best. He got on and he had a blast. So he's walking around the first day. The ship hasn't even left, and we have on the pool deck, everyone's in the pools, everyone's in the hot tubs, and we have a stage with tables, and we have the Walking Dead panel and then the Guardians of the Galaxy panel. And I don't know if he was drunk, probably. I don't know what he was doing. There are drinks blowing away, red cosmos flying. He's answering questions. He's like, you in the bikini in the hot tub. You ask the question. Ask question. He just loved it. He went nuts. So that next night, that night, he was having a blast. He's walking around looking for somewhere to eat dinner, but he was by himself. And he couldn't find, he didn't know how to eat dinner by himself. So he's walking with his tray going, can I eat with anybody? And we got him to a table. We put him with some unsuspecting fans, and they loved it. And he literally just had a blast sitting down, eating, telling stories to somebody else. The next morning, I see him at the Windjammer, which is the buffet, in pajamas and fuzzy slippers, walking around going, who wants breakfast? Who's going to have breakfast with me now? Because now he realizes food is a stage. He's got a captive audience, and he's loving it. And he's hijacked. We had Frank Miller come on. And Frank came on and came off. He was only on while we were in port in Key West. And there was a car for Frank Miller to take him back to the airport. Michael,
why am I not surprised? That doesn't surprise me.
Hijacked that car and went off and just kept going. So, yeah, Rooker's, you never know what he's going to say when he jumps on stage. You never know what's going to come out of his mouth. He's quite the character. I literally love him so much. He's fantastic. So
that's amazing. So we do have a couple of comments coming in. So Listrus Meg, I mean, we're obviously talking about Rooker at this point. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. And Leanne D, obviously the comment that she mentioned earlier, it was Michael Rooker who Mike helped me with. Mike was so great to get us autographs when people were pushing my wheelchair around. And she does actually mention that.
You're Leanne. I know you. That's awesome. Absolutely. Don't screw with my freaking wheelchair people or my scooter people. We have a pit for them. We get walkways for them. Don't lean over them. If you're in the stanchions behind them and you're in the crowd and you're leaning over, do not lean over. You stink. You have bad body odor. Don't put your armpit in their face, over their head. Stay back and respect their space. Don't fuck with my wheelchair people. And people have seen me. Caroline, I know I've seen it. I've walked off stage and said, we're not going to continue until you have respect for the people who are in the front.
I've seen it myself.
Life and a difficult enough time getting around the crowds that the last thing they should have to do is have your armpit or your arm hitting them on the head. That's BS in my mind. So,
absolutely. I mean, I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it. We've also got Dan Berry asking, did you offer Rooker a chocolate-covered pretzel? That must be a private joke. I'm going to leave that hanging right there. Yeah, okay, there's a cheeky grin there from Mike. And Damien Wilkinson is saying, I meet Michael just walking around behind the convention center by the harbor. Very cool guy. Do you get the chance to see much of the convention? Or are you, I mean, obviously, the booth is your baby. You've got all the other booths as well that you are responsible for. I mean, do you get the chance to just check it out?
I used to. Up until about 2010, I used to be able to take an hour once across the weekend and go walk to Artist Alley and stuff like that. But no, you can't. I mean, it's hard enough as an attendee to go to the bathroom or get lunch. I have runners to go get all of us lunch, and their only job is to get us lunch and to go to the bathroom for me. I'm like, look, I have to pee. Go pee for me. But there's not. And then we get there, at 7:30 in the morning on show days, and we're leaving at like 9 o'clock, 8:39, and I eat at the same restaurant 6 of the 9 nights I'm there. I ate the same Italian restaurant, Osteria Panavino, and I've been eating there for 10 years. They treat me like family. They speak Italian. So it's great because I can speak Italian with them and not have to speak to anybody else. And it gets exhausting doing the show. You know, I would love to go see the rest of the show because I hear everything's great. I hear how great the booths are. And I'm like, thanks. I can't see them. Show me pictures. And the problem is there's so many people who like, hey, Mike, can you grab dinner? Can you do this? Can you grab this? And my boyfriend came out, fiance, I should say. We're 7 years engaged. I should say fiance. He came out in 2010 and 2012, and he was like, let's go out afterwards. No, I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted. It's 9 o'clock. I can be in bed. And my team is working till midnight most nights. Because you know how we swap out the props every night?
Sure.
We're there doing it overnight, doing that. And then in the morning, we get 6 or 7 pallets of stuff that we have to unload before everything gets opened. And we have to do tech checks and stuff. So this is work. I mean, let's be honest. I make my living doing this. This is my job. I happen to have fun doing it. But if you were at work, let's say if you were working at a bank as a bank teller, and you see a friend who comes through the line and they're doing a deposit, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, great. Yeah, let's catch up this week and we'll have dinner. But there's a lot of people behind them. You can't stop bullshit the whole time. It's your job. So that's my job. It's everybody else's vacation. It's my job. So,
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Sorry,
go on.
I say, if that makes any sense. I mean,
No, absolutely.
But if you stop me, if you say, hey, Mike, I will absolutely stop and talk to you. I don't care if I'm exhausted. I will find it. I will never not talk to somebody. Because the fact that anybody remembers my name beyond my mother or my partner is a miracle. I mean,
well, I mean, you'd be surprised. Because, I mean, like I say, we've got all sorts of people who are jumping in on the comments, and like I say, we know Michael well.
He said that.
I mean, you've got your own little. I mean,
I do.
I think between yourself, you've got Eddie Ibrahim, obviously the big personality up on the stage at Hall H. The people who are not necessarily the celebrities that come to the show. I mean, there are icons of con. There are those faces and those names that you know of, and you're certainly in that pantheon. There you go. That's me blowing smoke up your ass for that.
That's fine. I'm on quarantine. That's the most action I'm getting.
Right. Let's talk about that then, because it has been one hell of a year. It's just been mind-blowing for so many people to see how everything has just come to a complete crashing halt.
It's actually
sorry?
It's life-altering. It's not just mind-blowing. So what people don't, I don't know if they recognize or it glosses over or they don't see the fine details. The conventions don't pop up overnight. I've owned my own convention in Atlantic City. I've owned my own cruise. I've worked in conventions, doing conventions on and off for 27 years. I understand the nuances of convention. For that video screen to work, there's 3 miles of cable that we have to do an electrical plan for and submit to a fire marshal. For every single panel of art we have, we are looking at every little pixel on that to make sure it's perfectly printed and whatever. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but you have the unions, the Teamsters, the truck drivers. All those people are affected right now by not having conventions. All of those people. You have all the concession workers. You have the housekeeping, all affected. All the hotel workers, all the restaurants in the area, all those bike dudes on the pedicabs, all of them. All of that is your income. That's their income, is conventions and what happens in the cities around conventions, not just in San Diego, New York, Emerald City, MegaCon, whatever. All of this, the life that's around those convention centers. And then you've got people like me, which is an agency. The only way we make money is by billing our clients for our time and our rentals if they rent stuff from us. And when there's no business, they don't. And thankfully.
Oh, we got a bit of frozen picture there.
Italian, and she has an old world Italian mentality, and she's always like save, 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 save. So we save, and I always keep a couple of months worth of running everything, you know, of my business in the bank at all times.
Sure.
That's getting depleted, you know. And the problem is when a convention goes away, it's really hard for these businesses to come back. Now that's the people to put on the show. What about the exhibitors, the 10 by 10s, the artist alleys, the 100 by 100 booths, all of those, the Disneys and the Marvels and the Lucasfilms and the DCs and the Warner Brothers, they'll figure it out.
They'll barrel on. Yeah.
They'll figure it out. The smaller companies, you know, I work with What's Your Passion Jewelry, right? I'm part owner in What's Your Passion Jewelry. That's the jewelry. They do Marvel jewelry, Lionsgate jewelry, and stuff like that. How do you make, you know, you still have to pay your licensing fees. It doesn't matter that you can't sell. You still have to pay your licensing fees. So how do you do that? I mean, thankfully, I've got them to start saving. We are actually, as an agency, starting to change a little bit about what we do to try to get revenue streams in, is to help companies get back into this pop culture world when the world opens up. Nobody knew San Diego was going to close.
No.
I left the country. I did C2E2 in Chicago.
I was about to say, what was the last show that you did?
C2E2. So C2E2 ran until March 1st. I left on the 29th, flew from Chicago to Florida, and at 8 o'clock in the morning on the 1st, which was the next day, I got on a cruise ship, transatlantic to Spain.
Yeah.
11 days at sea, land in Spain, Malaga, whatever it is, and then over to Barcelona, and we get off in Barcelona. And we left having the best year in contracts already that we've ever had. Contracted work for the year. Already in February, I had my entire year contracted out. Best year I've ever had. I got off that ship. Barcelona was open for one day. The next day, all gone. We traveled down to Sitges, which is a beach resort. Everything was shut down. Everything. Oddly, nobody was going nuts for toilet paper there. They all used bidets. But everything was shut down. And then we couldn't get home. And we finally got home, and we hoped to God San Diego was going to happen, because that's how we pay our bills, is San Diego. I have 6 clients there. So that's how we make 3/4 of our year. And San Diego went away. And what do? People have mortgages. I bought a house. I bought a house while I was on the cruise and sold my house while I was on the cruise. And I'm now living in an apartment because my new house has to be renovated. It's a complete gut job. It has to go down to like the studs and the cement. I'm not doing that because I don't want to burn the money, because I need to keep my business running. But yet I'm paying a mortgage on that, and I'm paying $2,500 a month on my apartment. Granted, I live on the water, so it's a nice apartment. But, you know, like, I'm lucky I can do that. My partner is a surgeon. He's still working. What about the people who can't? That's really rough. So it weighs on me. I don't sleep past 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 3 o'clock almost every night with anxiety over this, because I sit there and say, no, Moana, I was just about to say Moana, I was just about to invoke your name. I sit there and say, what about my friends like Moana, who has her booth? First of all, she just released this amazing book that I will give you the link to. You guys, if you have children, this book, she wrote this book. It's, I cannot tell you. She's Polynesian. She's from Hawaii, and it has a Polynesian flair. It's about remembering her father, and she did it on Kickstarter. It was phenomenal. But I will put the link in if people want to do it. I highly recommend
that out.
But you look at Moana and her husband John, and it's like, how do they keep going when they're a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20 booth? And that's how they get a lot of their income. But what about these artists? You know, you get these artists that, you know, Chris Campana. You know, he lost his fiance and his newborn baby 2 years ago. He's just getting back into the swing of things. And then his livelihood is taken out from him. He's a professional artist. He doesn't work anywhere else. So, you know, or Riley Brown, if you guys don't know Riley's the best guy in the world. He's a Marvel artist, does Deadpool. You know, Riley's got 2 kids and a wife. How do you can only do so many commissions. How do we do this? We need the world to come back. So what we got to do is, I believe, and I just said this actually to Marvel the other day on a call, I believe, and I'm speaking only as Mike Delesio.
Sure. We
need to look to 2 things. We need to look to theme parks, whether it's Disney, Universal, whatever, Six Flags, whatever. We need to look to theme parks, and we look to concerts. And the reason I say we need to look to those is, when they open, we need to follow how they're opening. We need to see what the spread of COVID is after a month of them being open and see, did we really hit the plateau and flatten the curve? Or are we still not doing enough? Now, I'm an American, I can only say American. Are we not doing enough in America? Because I saw what was going on in Spain and they were doing enough. So
well, it's the same here in the UK. I mean, it's the same drill, because we're trying to work out the methodology, and just I think that it's interesting to, because I've been talking about this to various people, and the fact that the different countries are taking different approaches. It's almost like petri dishes for each different approach.
But you can't live in a separate dish.
Yeah, you can't.
Because the problem is, like, you know, what happened. So Italy is very unique, right? And Spain to a point too, because they're peninsulas. Like Spain is kind of like with Portugal, a peninsula, right? You can cut the borders off and keep your people there. And that's what Italy did. America can't do that. America, it cannot, from a commerce perspective, a business perspective, and just an international perspective, we cannot do that. But we have to be smarter about what we're doing. Now, my partner is in medicine, right? He works in Jersey City, right in the hotbed of this. Like literally the hotbed of this, right outside New York. His hospital looks at the skyline of New York, and it's COVID, 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 COVID. But you know what's not happening? ER rooms, emergency rooms are empty. They're laying off the doctors and the PAs and the nurses there because there's nobody coming to the emergency room where they would normally come in for like a cold. If they don't have insurance, they would come there. So what's happening is people are staying home. They're listening, but now they're getting frustrated and they're saying, let me out, let me out, let me out. I don't care. It's going to be survival of the fittest, herd mentality, herd immunity. We're going to beat this. You're not. You have to. It's basic cleanliness. Somebody was talking to me earlier today about 1918 pandemic and how, you know, it was 2 years. Well, yeah, true, but they didn't have hand sanitizer on everyone's keychain. They didn't have soap everywhere. They didn't take showers every day. They didn't have education like we do, and they didn't have nutrition like we do.
Mass media and social media for information.
Exactly. They went by what their grandmother was telling them. There's a very big difference. And if we just look backwards, we're never going to be able to learn how to go forward. We need to look forward. We need to figure this out. I get frustrated when I see people like, my gym should be open. Yes, your gym should be open, but it can't be through no one's fault. One of my employees was giving me grief the other day. It's allowed. Everyone's stressed. Give me grief. I don't really care. I'm Superman, right? Or Wonder Woman, right there. I deflect it. Okay. But give me grief because, well, what's going to happen after 8 weeks after the PPP plan, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with overseas. That's the Paycheck Protection Plan that the government rolled out. It gives us 8 weeks of pay up to $100,000. It gives you.
We've got the furlough scheme over here. Similar, same thing.
So what happens after the 8 weeks? I don't have an answer. But if you look 8 weeks back, I was still on my cruise having a great time thinking I was going to be doing San Diego. So you don't know what's going to happen in 8 weeks. You don't know what's going to happen next week. Every day is different. So we have to stop with the bullshit gossip of saying, well, New York Comic Con's not going to happen. And Emerald City is not going to be expanded. And MegaCon's not going to. Okay, you know what? Go talk to Lance Fensterman over at New York Comic Con at Reed. Get it from him. Yeah. Because I talked to him. And it's up to the governor whether we're going to do it or not. It's not. Yeah. Lance wants to do it. Reed Pop wants to do it.
Well, you know? I mean, yeah, 2 weeks ago, was it 2-3 weeks ago, we had Mike Armstrong on, and same drill. They are absolutely planning ahead. They are barreling ahead to plan for these shows to go ahead. But it's like what you said back then in that conversation. We wouldn't know what was going to happen 7 days. We wouldn't know what was going to happen 14 days. Everything is so in the air, and it's still very much an unknown quantity. You're absolutely right.
But the thing about that is, it's the gossip. And I've never dealt in gossip in my life. Now, listen, I'm a gay man from New Jersey. I am gossip half the time, but I don't believe in business gossip. And the thing about that is, when people kept asking me, and Moana knows this, who's watching, she knows because I've had conversations with her about this. You're welcome, Moana. So we talked about when people were like, is San Diego going to happen? Is San Diego going to close? I heard San Diego was going to close. I heard that they're going to close and they weren't going to tell anybody they were going to close. They were going to do it at the last minute and try to get as much money as possible and not refund. You know what? I talked to CCI directly. I talked to the people at Marvel directly. I talked to people at Boom directly. I talked to the people who know and are making the decisions. I don't listen to what my friend who's a cosplayer said this. Tell your friend who's a cosplayer to focus on cosplay. There's plenty of time to make cosplay right now. If you want to find out the truth, you need to go to the source. And not everybody has that source, and I'm very lucky I have it.
Absolutely.
But I got the call in advance about San Diego. I knew a week in advance that it was going to be gone. I was asked not to say anything.
Sure.
I can't say anything. You know why? You don't cause panic and you don't cause gossip. And that's the issue. So we can only hope that people are educating themselves enough on how to keep themselves healthy and safe. That's number one. At C2E2 in February, I showed up with rubber gloves and masks for my team. Because if you've ever been in our booth, they always ask, can you take my picture and give us their camera? First off, get an iPhone if you want me to take your picture. Don't make me learn this. All right, they give me their phone. Now I take their phone, I'm holding it, I click it. I always take a selfie also, just so they know who took it. So I click it, I give it back to him. Now I'm touching somebody else's phone. So right away I'm transmitting the virus, right? If I have the virus. Or if they had the virus, giving it to me and I'm transmitting it to somebody else. So we use gloves, and people thought we were rude for using gloves.
Really?
The right way to use a glove is you touch something, you take it off, you use the glove, you touch something, you take it off, you touch something else, put a new pair of gloves on, touch something else. It's actually better to just use your hands and then wash them, pure all them, or hot soap and water. The thing about it is we have to learn what that new normal is going to be at conventions. We don't know. I put a post out saying, don't hug me at C2E2. I'm going on a cruise, and it's not about me getting sick. I don't want to get the rest of the 6,000 people on my cruise ship sick. And yes, into the blue mister, it will go back to normal. It will take time. In that taking time, we need to figure out how do we work in the convention world as normal. Now,
well, okay, well, that's going to be the next thing I was wanting to lead on to, because obviously something that we're seeing for this summer, I mean, I think we're definitely agreeing that this summer it's gone, it's scrapped. But people are looking for. Sorry?
I'm going to be at the beach.
Well, yeah, okay. Yes, for the convention landscape, it's scrapped. But people are certainly looking at the ways of continuing fandom and continuing that interaction with an audience, and they're looking at virtual conventions as an option. Do you see the virtual cons making any headway into breaking that kind of connection to an audience, or is it just something that it's not enough? What's your take on them?
Do you want to answer politically correct, or you want me to answer honestly?
Both.
Politically correct, I think it's wonderful that people are doing it. Friends of mine, such as Bernie Bregman, have put together a convention. Right away, he was one of the first ones out there. He asked me to get involved. I did not have the ability to get involved at that time. Bernie is a phenomenal man, and he did the best effort he possibly could with putting together his virtual convention. So that's great, and I applaud him. CCI, Comic Con International, has been trying to put together a convention, a virtual convention, and I applaud them, and I will help every single person at CCI in any way, shape, or form if they ask me to, which they have. Now, I'm going to give you the Mike DeLessio answer. The aspect of a virtual con works in theory, and I actually talked about doing a virtual con. I want to do what you're doing now, where I can interview all my artists at Writer and Virtual Pop Expo. Thank you, Dan. Because I knew they had a different name, and then they got in trouble for the name, and I didn't want to say what that name was.
We had them on the show. Great. Number one, great guy. Number two, just a great effort. Great effort.
He's a really good buddy of mine. I love him dearly, and I look to him for an inspiration. He's an inspiration to me all the time. Now, the problem is I had wanted to do a virtual con where I'm interviewing artists, celebrities in this, and people can chime in and ask questions. And I still think I might do that, because I've got about 30 of the top artists and writers who are asking me daily, when are we going to do this? So I still might do this in the next week or so. But what's missing is that the convention is what we talked about earlier. I'm in the booth. I see you. I want to come over and quick give you a hug, give you a hug, give Caroline a hug. Like, I want to be able to see Moana across the aisle at New York and high-five her and get a hug and say, hey, what's going on with you in life? Because I talk to you online all the time, but now I got 20 minutes with you and I can connect with you. That connection is missing. The tactileness of seeing a cosplayer and being able to get a photo with them and see their beautiful work, that's missing. You need the human interaction. You need me on stage in a microphone screaming. If you see the red carpet, you're okay. If not, you see gray, you got to keep walking. And Barb is right. Cons are all, especially for Barb. Barb will talk to everybody. So
Sure.
you know, it's one of those things that you need to make the interaction. My best friends, of my 5 best friends, 4 of them are people I met at conventions. Every one of my employees is somebody I met at a convention. All of my clients are people I got from meeting them at conventions. The ability to create those relationships is lessened in a virtual con. It's lessened. So Jason LeBoy, who just commented, he came down and photographed ACBC, my con in Atlantic City, put me in Cosplay Culture magazine, did a spread on us, which was great. I loved his work, started following him, saw that some people were maybe not the nicest to him. I pissed off, and I hired him. And he's our official photographer for all of our booths, Marvel, Boom, Alex Ross, all that. Cool. And I have become such great friends with Jason, and he also invited me to see Wonder Woman early, so I was thrilled. I become such great friends with Jason, and I would never have gotten that friendship by just seeing his name on a screen like we just saw now. It's the personal interaction, and that is why virtual conventions will never be able to replace what an actual convention is. Plus,
I think the virtual Pop Expo was possibly the closest we'll get, because they did that whole element of people could drop into a virtual hall and interact with everybody that was there, and there was that sense. There was a sense of interaction there. I think that's as close as we're going to get without actually strapping VR goggles on everybody.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, so there's a great guy, Jay Nizo. I don't know if you know Jay or not. He owns Nerdgasms out in Las Vegas.
Oh, no, yeah.
Jay is Jay's my brother. That's basically the only way to respond to this. Is Jay is somebody if he needed me to drive to Las Vegas tomorrow, I would get in the car and drive to Las Vegas tomorrow, because he's gotten across country and driven to me when I needed him for AC Boardwalk Con. I would do the same for him in a heartbeat. Jay is trying to create something right now that I don't want to reveal, but that would be a start to getting conventions back. And it's a brilliant idea, but on a very small scale. And that, to me, is the way we need to slowly dip our toe in the water. But to get us our whole body into cannonball into the pool, we need to look at Disney, look at Six Flags, look at Universal, look at concerts, and see what happens when you do put these people together. Now, Shanghai Disney, so what are we going to see happening there?
I was going to bring it up that I know that we're hearing about Disneyland opening up. I'm curious to see how that's going to work, especially I believe they're wanting to do social distancing. They're wanting to kind of interact and put a lot of rules to make it work. But you're right. You're absolutely right. I really am curious to see.
Can I tangent?
Yeah, go for it.
Have you gone to Disney World lately or Disneyland lately?
Not lately, no. I mean, the last time I went, it's manic.
But you haven't done Rise of the Resistance?
No.
The new Star Wars ride? If you are able to go, if you're in America, and right now with the social distancing, if you can get your butt to Florida or to California to go do that ride when there's not chaos around there, we had to be there at 4:30 in the morning to wait to get tickets. Go. It is worth it. Bring a full body mask and a hazmat suit. It's worth it. It's the best experience I've ever been on at a amusement park.
Well, I mean, myself and Caroline, we're back in 2021. And yeah, we're going to go all out. We're definitely we're going to try and do. I think we're going to try and do everything. I think we're going to make up for it and try and do everything.
Well, if you come to Florida, I would be happy to host you and take you. I mean, I'm 3 hours from Disney. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, but I would happy to meet you up in Disney or have you down here. But I would happy to go do the ride with you. It's worth it.
Fantastic. Couple of questions coming in. Let's go through, well, number one, Into the Blue Mister, can we have Mike on every week? I would have no problem with that. I would have literally no problem with that whatsoever. But we've got, like I say, a couple of actual questions. Andrew Dickinson's asking, is there anything from this year that you had planned that isn't going to make it for next year? Oh, hang on. It's really making you sad. I think that's really kind of long-term question. That's a big question.
Now, so there's some stuff that I can't go into, but I can say this. Almost everything we planned for this year is in talks for future. So what you have, the way I look at it is God put pause. He pressed pause, and everything paused. The movies, the TV shows, the comic books, everything paused. So when he takes his finger up pause again, we're going to be able to pick up. All that stuff still needs to get marketed. All that stuff still needs to get publicized. So whenever that pause button is released by the big man, and it better be freaking soon, all needs to still be marketed. So the stuff, we had some really, really, really cool stuff planned at San Diego this year. Like, I was beyond thrilled. We were so excited for what we had planned. Not just with Marvel. Alex Ross had some amazing stuff planned. Sideshow was doing some cool stuff. Boom. We were redoing their whole movie. It was going to look great. So I think that there's a lot going on. I'm actually working on also, not comic, I'm working on creating for a company a vampire-based convention.
Okay.
And for next year, for October of next year, and that
safe to say there's a hole in the market when it comes to the vampire-based conventions at the moment. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. So, but there's some cool stuff we're doing with that as well. So yeah, so there's things that we're doing. I'm not sad about any of it, except for I'm sad because I want to do it now, and I'm kind of. I was like, I'm the youngest kid in my family, in the first half of my family, so I'm kind of used to being spoiled and wanting to do things when I want to do them, and I want to do them now. I don't want to wait. So,
fair enough. Fair enough. We've got a couple of comments then. Dan Berry, virtual cons are a good alternative while real cons aren't happening. I think absolutely, just to kind of keep something going. Andrew Dickinson, I still think we need first-person shoot-'em-ups in a con hall. Okay, listen, Andrew likes to throw out some interesting ideas. Are you
the guy who stabbed somebody with a pencil through the eye at Harry Potter in Hall H? I don't know. So.
And we also have Solicitor Smeg. This is more about CCI and what your thoughts are about actually the elements of a Comic-Con and the exclusives. When it comes to exclusives, do you think CCI and vendors should sell them through the CCI port to keep them exclusive?
Yes, and here's why. When you go to do an exclusive, if the convention is buying the exclusive, so like when I had ACBC, I got the rights to do a couple of exclusive comics from Marvel, and I had to buy, I think, 1,000 of them at a time, right? And then I have my license for Marvel, and I made all these wearables and stuff like that. If my con had faltered for any reason, it didn't happen, I'm stuck with that merchandise, and I still have to pay the licensing fee on that. So I believe that if the CCI exclusives were already made, that CCI should review this and possibly allow them to be sold on their virtual convention or online. Now, there's a caveat to that. Licensing agreements do not always allow you to do it outside of the convention. So for instance, I own part of a company called What's Your Passion Jewelry, comicbookjewelry.com, and we make amazing rings and pendants, and I mean, it's comicbookjewelry.com. So we make convention exclusives. If I wanted to go sell that on Amazon right now, where I sell stuff on Amazon, I cannot sell it there. It is against the licensing agreement for me to do that. I have to sell it at the convention. So it's up to the convention, such as CCI, to allow us to then sell it on their website. And we're in negotiations trying to make that happen. This is a brilliant question. I really think it's a revenue stream that so many vendors need. Somebody like Moana might have created a book that's exclusive for CCI. Why not sell it? You know what I mean? Give them the opportunity and give the public the opportunity to help, because the public, I believe, we're all tight now on money, right? In America, I think we're at like 27% unemployment.
Sure.
I'm unemployed. I've never been unemployed. I'm unemployed. We all are watching our P's and Q's, but I want to go buy something to support Moana, or I want to go buy something to support X person or Y person. I will go spend $100 on that because they need that $100. They need that more than I need it. And I'd love to have their product. So put it up, CCI, and let us buy it.
Makes sense. And I agree with you 100% on that one. Jenan is on. I still have the ACBC shirt that you gave me.
Jenan! I love her. That's awesome.
Well, I have
t-shirts too.
Well, I mean, I was going to talk about the other things that people have are very much thankful for you for getting their hands on. I mean, we're looking at the artwork behind you, which is just amazing. But I mean, this has been my background artwork for a long time, and people can probably just about see it. It is the Avengers poster that came with the Marvel Cinematic Universe box set, the Phase 1 box set. It's a Scotty Young poster.
Scotty Young, and you had to buy the box set to get that poster, and we only did, I think, 200 of them, and I have 15 of them left in my warehouse.
Fantastic. And yet Caroline still talks about the fact that it was at your booth, it was at Marvel, and the way that you did that and put it all together. Pride and joy.
I don't have it here. I'm in an apartment, right? So like it's
sure.
crap. But I don't have it here. I have it at storage unit. That box set I have signed by every Avenger, every single TV cast member, every producer, every writer that has ever appeared on the Marvel stage. I've gotten that signed. I will never, ever sell it. But I've had estimates of $45,000 for it. And I would never, ever sell it, because that is a memento of my time in this convention world. And
sure.
The only one I don't have signed on it, I have two that aren't signed on it. I don't have Gwyneth Paltrow and I don't have Scarlett Johansson.
There's time. There's time. There's time. Yeah.
I'll get her.
It's all about ambition. I like that. That's good. We've got ourselves, like I say, a couple more, and then I think we'll let you get off and enjoy the rest of your day. Bob Sywood,
stories.
Mike helped my BFF Amanda get Stanley's autobiography at NYCC once, and I'll never forget it. Mike is one of a kind. There you go. You see,
I do remember that actually. Stanley. Let me just go into Stanley for a minute.
Go for it.
I met Stan in '96. I was working at a different agency, and we were promoting Best Western, which is a chain of hotels here, and we wanted to have comic book there for kids for activities, because Best Western was faltering, and they wanted something to attract families. We ended up doing it with DC. Marvel didn't end up doing it, but I worked with Marvel on that, and I got to meet Stan a couple times, and it was a crotchety old man back then. And then I got to meet Stan again in like 2004, and he was much nicer. And then I got to meet Stan in 2006 when I started working with them. And I have had a love and relationship with him for many years. He did not show up at ACBC Year 1, and that cost me over $350,000 out of my pocket. I still have to pay that off. I'm paying my loan off on that. And it was because his daughter threw a shit fit and didn't want him to leave. JC. Anyway, so I was very angry with Stan, and then Stan saw me at a show and apologized to me. And I thought that was very big of him. I didn't get money, but he apologized. But I have introduced him, I think it's 30-something times. I've introduced him and hosted him. And I got the privilege to do the goodbye to him at New York Comic Con for his last ever appearance in the Marvel stage. And I got to say a few words to the audience about him and get him a round of applause after he had done signing. And that's a privilege I won't forget. And we did, Marvel did this thing where it was a celebration of Stan Lee's life. And they filmed it the Monday after New York Comic Con last year. And we were tearing down the booth. We were exhausted, or the Tuesday after. We were tearing down the booth. We were exhausted. And I ran back to the hotel, changed. And I was lucky that we got invited to go to this at this theater in New York in Times Square. And we didn't know what was in it. Nobody does. And they had guests on stage and stuff. And they had this video montage reel. And we're sitting there and our mind is blown, because we're like, wait, we built that. We built that. Wait, that's me in the background. That's me with Stan Lee. That's my employees with him. That's Stan hanging out with us. That's all of our work. And it was mind blowing to realize how much, not just did I get to know the man, and I got to know him personally. Like I knew him. I knew him personally. It was how much what we do as a small marketing agency, how it impacted what he's able to do for the fans. We're just the set dressers. We're just the people who make it look great and then make the traffic work, but we give you the platform to do that. And I remember when Avengers hit $1 billion, the first movie, I called up my contact over at Marvel, and I was like, dude, congratulations. This is mind-blowing. I can't believe we worked on this for 4 years. This is fantastic. And I'm like, you must be so proud. He goes, you must be so proud. I said, what do you mean? He goes, you're our #1 consumer interaction is the booths, and you handle that for us. And you have to be so proud. And that's when I started realizing I can take some of that pride on as well, that we do that. Because we did, listen, for 2K games, we did a 7 content international, like basically scavenger hunt for Bioshock 2. We came in, won multiple awards for it, and I was thrilled because I was an actor in it, as well as running it, as well as writing part of it, as well as making the props for it and shit. And yeah, we are a part of it. We are a part of that. And Stan always made us feel a part of it. Marvel makes us feel a part of it. Our other clients make us feel a part of it. And that is, we're just marketing people. You know, I went to school for theater. I mean, like, I never did a marketing class in my life, and here I am doing this.
I mean, you say that. I mean, I was particularly naughty about 5 years ago. I'd been brought on as a volunteer staff member. So I was running one of the rooms upstairs, and that gave me a CCI badge, which had a different color code on the barcode. So on, I believe it was the preview night or the day before, I went up and actually snuck in. And I think security, they got confused by the badge. They didn't really know. So I kind of snuck in and had a look around because I wanted to see the mechanics of actually putting on, because you really do build a city in that space, and just the sheer amount of, it's just insane. And it's almost like magic, the ability to come in and create something in that space and make it very physical and very real and very solid. And that's just on behalf of the team, on the team's side for yourself. I mean, it is just remarkable to see it happen. And then when the lights go on and the stage is set and the crowd comes through, it does feel like magic. And to have that atmosphere in the room, and it's all generated by you and the team, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, for example,
I have an amazing team. Oh, so this right here, Chris Grislak, that's my cousin. Her nephew is my cousin Darren. So she's got it from both ends. She sees it from Darren Passarello and me. Darren handled Stanley. He handled POW Entertainment's social media for 10 years. I mean, he did every single thing with Stan. You know, when he was with Max Anderson and stuff like that. We double teamed it. It was Staten Island all over this place. You know, we literally went New York, you know, Italian on everybody, and we made these things happen. You just figure out a way to do it. I mean, I had spinal surgery a year and a half ago, and I was at a show a month and a half later. I'm walking like this, you know, and I've got everybody coming over and helping me out and stuff. But you have to build a city in 3 days. In New York, you get 2 days. So you come in and it is pure cement everywhere. And so at New York, that's Monday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Mike Armstrong calls us and says, all right, you can go in. And it's pure cement, and they're just marking out your booth perimeters. And they're about to lay down the electrical tape, and about to do this, and you have to have your blueprints to check everything, and then it's got to be moved, because if you put the carpet down and the electrical is in the wrong spot, happens all the time, you have to pull the carpet up and redo it. And that starts, and then the show goes live Thursday. It's crazy. And we get in on Monday. Most people don't get in until Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's crazy what goes on. But I wouldn't change my life at all. I told you, my partner, you know, he's in surgery doing gunshot wounds and legs that are ripped off and blah, blah, blah. You know, but he saves lives, and he's a real life hero. He came home one day and he's like, oh, this kid got run over by a train and I had to sew his leg back on. I'm like, dude, Thor's cape printed the wrong red, you know? Like, come on. And he's like, no, Mike, like, seriously, I just, like, sew this kid's leg back on. I'm like, I have posters with the wrong red. Whose job was worse today? Mine. I love what I do. So I think somebody just told me I've been talking too long, that the lights have to come on and get the hook out and pull me off.
No, listen. I mean, I've seen you at the end of the show on a Sunday, and it's the energy doesn't stop from the. I haven't seen anything like it. It's just nonstop. Moana, the behind the scenes of a con is no joke, absolutely. And Jenan, a whole new perspective for San Diego Comic Con last year when I helped break down the booths after closing on Sunday.
So here's something about Jenan. First off, Jen was a fan. Right? And I just happen to recognize her. She's a sweet girl, always had her hair in a ponytail, always easy to recognize. Sweet girl. Mike, do you need anything? No, I'm good. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, yeah. Can you get me a Coke? I'm good. I could use a Coke or a Frappuccino. She get it. And she wanted to work for us. And we brought her out and had her work for us a couple of days last year. Phenomenal. Help break down. Phenomenal. I mean, like, that's a fan who, yes, is a fangirl, but also knows how to get a job done. And that's why he would be back this year if we had had the damn show. So,
well, I mean, there's certainly another name that I'm going to point at you because she's a member of the team, of your team, and I'm a massive fan of her, Chelsea St. Juniors. Hoping that Chelsea comes back onto the team again because she's just amazing.
Well, she was still there last year. She wasn't going to be coming this year, and it's literally because what we do is we try to rotate through people, so that we can always have some new people and then have some senior people. Some of our senior people have moved on, like Alex. He got a job through working with us. We got him a job at Disney. He's a production assistant at Disney.
Wow.
And Carrie, who was a fan, who ended up working for us and still works for us, she works on every Avenger movie as a PA. Now I think she's a production coordinator now.
Yeah.
Props and physical assets. So they get jobs. A lot of them get jobs inside the industry from it. Stacy, same thing. She worked for us. She went to go work for Marvel, and then I grabbed her, and she's now working for me full time. It's a miracle what you can do. Chelsea is somebody who just stood next to me dressed up as Magneto, and I was like, damn, that's an awesome looking Magneto outfit. And she's like, thank you. And then I realized 3 hours later she was still standing there, and 4 hours later she was still standing. I'm like, do you have any place to go? She goes, no, I just like it here. And I was like, I like you. We became friends, and I hired her. And fly her out from New Orleans, and she works for us all the time. And we've gotten her interviews. We haven't found the right spot for her yet, but we got some interviews for her that she's lined up, or we've written letters for her for some film productions in Atlanta. And she's one of my favorite people in the world outside of this world. And I met her because she had a white wig on, dressed up as Magneto.
You see, it's just the way it works, isn't it? It's just incredible, the connections that you make. Mike, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I mean, we could just carry on going. We've got another interview which is coming up a little bit later on this evening, but let's, considering that it's taken
celebrities.
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, it's taken a while to get you on.
Yes,
but it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
And
I hope you enjoyed it. I hope people enjoyed it. The thing about it is, we want the world to come back. We want the con world to come back. We miss our friends. We miss the fans. I miss walking by graffiti T-shirts and just, Gina, I love you, and walking and keep going. Like, we miss the hugs in the community of the people who put the shows on, that we walk by and we hug each other and be like, dude, do you need help? Like, here's a vacuum. I'll come help you tear down. Like, we miss that. And then we miss the fans. And the brands miss the fans. The brands, this is their way of saying thank you. The larger brands and the other brands, this is a way of making money. And we want it to come back badly. Nobody wants it more than we do. And everybody knows what it's like to leave a convention and have con, like, I'm sad. Not con crud. We don't want that. But they're all like, I'm having loneliness after con. Well, we're gonna have that for a couple more months. And the best way. There's Ari Kathian. He's actually the owner of What's Your Passion Jewelry, comicbookjewelry.com. But we all miss each other, and we miss the fans. I miss seeing you and Carolyn. I mean, there's no way to say it without me tearing up. And I did that on another podcast, and I promised I wouldn't do it on this. But the world didn't change because anybody did something.
No.
The world changed because of biology. And we are just having to roll with it. But be nice to the fellow people who are in your fandom and and the con world. Be nice to everybody. First off, be nice to the people at the grocery store and the supermarkets and the banks and the gas stations, and be nice to everybody who has to work through this and deal with your crappy attitude that you have to wear a mask. So what? Every one of our heroes wears a mask, except Wonder Woman, she doesn't. But enjoy it, right? But we all miss this. And the only way we're going to get back is if we are smart. So let's be smart and realize that you are not alone. And if you're depressed or sad, my Facebook is on 24 hours a day, and you can always be on. And I'll tell you a story about Ming-Na Wen or Clark Gregg or somebody.
Right. We've got to get you back, man. We've got to get you back for a part 2 of this.
And again, for my shirt, Tower of London. Sorry.
Got to get you back.
All right.
Listen, so we've got a couple, like I say, just wrapping up. Rob James, I have a job that pays well beyond what I made working at Cons for Mike, but you don't do this job for money. You do it because you love it and for the interaction with the fans. And most importantly, to get a chance to work with Mike. So there you go.
He's worked in my warehouse in the middle of the summer, 90-degree days, lugging crap. The only reason why is because he married one of my high school friends. He's back. He comes and works at the shows, and they're fantastic. Come see us at the shows. Bring your money. Here, lasting parting words, Leonard, please. Spend your money on the small businesses at the shows. Spend your money. All those small 10x10 booths that you pass, if you know their names, look up their Facebooks, look up their Instagrams, and spend their money. Spend your money on their products. Even if you're spending $10, spend your money. That said, always buy licensed products. Always buy licensed products. Always buy licensed products. But so there you go.
There you go. Excellent stuff. And there you go. There's the final one from Ari. We need Mike Telesto instant pot sessions. So there you go.
Sorry.
Mike, it's been a pleasure. Like I say, we've got to get you back on. It's been an absolute joy to have you. Thank you very much indeed for coming on, man.
Have a nice day, guys.
Stay safe, yeah?
Thank you. You too.
You too. Wow. Excellent stuff indeed. So there you go. It was a long time coming, but it was a pleasure to have him joining us. That's Mike Telesto. Do check his Facebook page out. And of course, go and check any sort of old memories of the booths that he's run over the years. You sense the magic. You see exactly what he does and what he brings to the show. It's an amazing thing that he does. So there you go. Looking forward to get part 2 of that particular one. This has been an incidental episode. It's a drop-in. We usually broadcast on a Wednesday and a Sunday, and we do have some great guests lined up for the rest of the month. But as it happens, we've got 2 incidental episodes, and they're happening tonight. So we've spoken to Mike. The next one we're going to be having is going to be at 9 p.m. GMT, so 1 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. 1 p.m. West Coast, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT. We are going to be speaking to Mike Broder, who is the president of Galaxy Con. He's going to be coming on to talk about what they're doing when it comes to the virtual convention experience for 2020. It really is a way of trying to fill the gap of what we are missing from the convention experience this year. One more time, just a quick reminder of those excellent guests that we've got coming up later on this month. Donny Cates and Megan Hutchinson tomorrow. So looking forward to talking to that wonderful couple of people, especially wanting to see what Donny's hair's looking like after that Marvel stream that he did last night. David Irwin's going to be joining us on Sunday, the 24th of May, talking about heavy metal and also the new Virus imprint on all of his stories that he's got coming up. Russ Burlingame from comicbook.com and Mike Avelia from Sci-Fi Wire. They're joining us Wednesday, 27th of May. And then Sunday, 31st, Robin Jones and Mark Jansen. They are going to be our guests. This has been our incidental episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much indeed to Mike for coming on. That was a blast. And like I say, we could just carry on talking to him for absolutely hours. Looking forward to a part 2 of that episode. Join us again in a couple of hours' time for that interview, Galaxy Con, as an incidental episode of Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. For myself, Leonard, we'll see you in a couple of hours. Take care.